All right, Lynette, we can start.
Okay, great. Welcome to everyone today. Wonderful to see you all and have you participate. First of all, I'd like to do an acknowledgement of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as our traditional owners of the land in which we're in Australia. And for me, that means the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, including their leaders past, present and emerging, but also to acknowledge all of the other locations where you're coming through from different parts of Australia. This program, this session today is a really exciting one for us because it's really to tell you a little bit about the Chief Executive Women Leaders Program, to tell you why it's been so successful, and obviously to get your support to have all of you join us in one way or another. But before we get into the details, and we're very lucky that we've got Sam Mostyn here. She needs no introduction. We all know her as our special leader. But, you know, Sam really stands on the world stage with everything she does. You know, she's had her passion is looking after people and diversity, as well as the SDGs and governance and climate, very much across all of those areas. But also she's able to bring that knowledge to a lot of companies, whether she, for example, is, you know, she's a chair of lots of companies. She's a non-executive director on lots, for example, like Mirvac, Transurban, the Centre of Policy Development, and she does lots of other things. So we thank you, Sam, for being such a great leader of us and for opening this session on Chief Executive Women Leaders Program.
Well, thank you, Lynette. That's overly generous of you and very, very kind, particularly given the calibre of women on this call. And I'm always very mindful that the members of Chief Executive Women are most extraordinary women from all across the country and from all sorts of disciplines. And so I feel immensely proud and privileged to be your president. And for the period I have, I think I'm coming up for a year, so a year to go. So I'm at the halfway point already, which is staggering to think that's happened so quickly. But I'm really, really delighted. And it was lovely to be invited just to say a few words to open this program, which really, I'll say a few words, Lynette, about you and some others in a moment, because this program has an extraordinary history and an extraordinary impact on the core purpose of Chief Executive Women, which we know is all about women leaders, enabling women leaders. But the Leaders Program, I want to make sure everyone, you know, has a really strong view of. This is core to mission. We know, and you'll see it in the material today and the videos you'll see, that this is the program that can deliver us the next generation of leaders into our, not just pipelines, it's kind of, that sounds like a fairly anodyne word, but really does sit behind what we say has got to change in the country to really elevate women to positions where they can be leaders should they choose to. And we know how effective this program is, and that it also brings a whole new cohort into the Connect community. And we have already had a number of our Leaders Programs graduates become members of Chief Executive Women, and who would ascribe a lot of their success to the fact they did this program. So this is right on strategy and really important. And so thank you for coming and learning a bit more about this. The program started back in 2005 in Sydney, and it was a very small offering at that time. And it was only, I think, 20 women from 5 organisations. So humble beginnings, but a very strong set of purpose. The growth of the program is quite staggering. So it's now an average of 200 women participants every year, spread over 4 states. So it's New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland, WA and Singapore we had until 2019. And then from 2022, the program is going to grow to 10 programs a year with plans to expand even more. And the big goal is to reach 600 women per annum by 2025. And we're almost at 2022. So that's a big goal, and one where I think people are feeling very confident about, but it says so much about what this program can do with support and with all of you playing roles as well. We've had more than 2,000 women who've participated from over 230 different organisations and across very, very diverse industry sets. But each year we have more than 30 CEW current members who participate as speakers, and a further 20 who are either men or women chief executives who also give us their time. And we know this is part of the secret sauce that gives us a huge advantage, is the members themselves sharing their stories in a very raw way with the participants. There's a great alumni network with 1,500 active Connect members who also come together quite regularly, and I think increasingly join us on some of our programs, some of the things we do as chief executive women to inform and grow the leadership pool across the country. It's also, this is not the only reason we do it, because for all those other good reasons, there is also a very, very strong business case for why we do this. It's a very profitable business for us. It has revenue of, it has had revenue of $8.5 million between 2010 and 2021. And on average, there's a revenue of about $1 million for the last 5 years, other than 2020, which was an exceptional year because of COVID. And back in 2010, that revenue sat at a tenth of that, at $140,000. So just again to show you what it's doing, it enables us to do so many other things. And the financial success of this program and the contribution it makes back into our organisation means we can do many more things. So it's doing a lot of things in addition to supporting our core purpose. So it's great to see you here today to see whether you will become a part of it in any way, because you are what makes this. It's the members that make this really work, and you're going to be asked a number of things and given some suggestions today. Before I hand back to Lynette, though, I just do want to make a couple of personal comments about why we've got to this position, and it's about the people. And Dagmar, you have been the stalwart. This is the program that you have built. It's the pedagogy that you have designed. It's a great gift that you have given us, and we've announced already to the membership that you're in the process of retiring from this program, and we have been immensely fortunate to have you, and I know you'll be a friend of CEW, and this won't be the end of the relationship, but in your change of direction, it means that Dagmar will leave the program, but we have so much to say thank you to you, Dagmar, and of course between you and Lynette, who has also been just wonderful. Lynette, you're just indefatigable on the commitment to this, and I hope our members know that there is the Schmidmeier Main scholarships that ensure that there are women in not-for-profits who are able to come to our program, and that those scholarships are in the name of Dagmar and Lynette, to make the point that these have been such significant contributions to our program. Many other CEOs, CEW members have been really vital. Kathleen Bailey-Lord in particular, I wanted to single out. And I know also that recently, Denise, you've been doing a power of work. Michelle, there are a number of women. We're always dependent on the members, and so for you to all come along and to hear more about this, I'd really encourage you to think about what role you might like to play, and we are building a pipeline and a talent pool that relies on women like us stepping up. So a big thank you, Dagmar in particular, but to Lynette, Michelle, Denise, Susan, you and the team. I won't name everybody, but this is a big team effort that meant that Leaders Program could suddenly take this big lift off, and something we should all be immensely proud of. So with those words, Lynette, and I'm incredibly grateful for everything that you do, and you still give this an enormous amount of time. So I'll leave you now to run the show and just get everyone excited about how much more we can do together.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Very much appreciated, and great comments. And from me too to Dagmar, she's just been absolutely amazing, right? And has been a wonderful partner in crime. I mean, Michelle, Dagmar and I started it 13 years ago, whenever we did, took it over, and Dagmar, you've just been amazing. So thank you for everything that you've done. And so why don't we, talking about that, why don't we give you a little bit of a history about the Leaders Program? So let me hand it over to Dagmar to start that very appropriately, my dear.
Dagmar, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Dagmar.
I'm off now. Can you hear me?
Now we can.
Sam, thanks very much. I really appreciate those kind words. And yes, 13 years seems a long time. But I think that when we started off in 2008-9 with Michelle and Lynette, we decided, we ran the program, and it started off really as a mentoring and networking program, which ran for 2 hours once a month. And after looking at that, we decided we could develop it into a more structured program with a proper educational foundation. and to develop it into a very bespoke and personal and intimate approach to leadership training. And that, together with the CEW membership, I think has made its mark, and that's why it is so unique in terms of developing that leadership inspiration to the women that come on the program. The structure has evolved over the years, and it now runs for 7 days, broken up into 3 blocks. So the first one is 3 days, then 2 days, then another 2 days. And we trialled this first in Singapore and found that it was so successful that we introduced it to the rest of Australia. And we run all of the programs in that format now. And it really comes from a very strong belief that I had from my educational background, my academic background, that you need time to reflect and to absorb the sort of issues that you're discussing in terms of getting real traction from what you're doing. Because we all know that we can go to a 3 or 5 day course and be hugely enthusiastic about it, but actually don't do anything because we get caught up in the day-to-day when we come back. So it's the program, I think, offers, you know, huge challenges and huge opportunities. And you'll hear from some of the participants, which I think is the strongest way to deal with it in the video that's coming up. But I'll now hand it back to Lynette to say a few words.
Yeah.
Partner in crime, over to you.
Exactly. It's been good partnership. You know, we really target to get women who are aspiring to be, you know, part of the C-suite. But, you know, obviously we've taken other women that don't necessarily have that as an ambition. I think one of the really key things that makes it work is that each of the cohorts we have, no matter where they are, the attendees or participants are from very different organisations, very different backgrounds, and very different experience, right? So that's kind of quite amazing to have them come together and to create such a network for each other and learn from each other. As Sam talked a little bit about, I mean, this is a unique program from the point of view, it not only really helps participants, and we've got an alumni here from Ramsay Healthcare, and it's great from that point of view in terms of the participants, but also it's brilliant in terms of the organisations, and we're even lucky, she might kind of speak to us, Susan Coyle from the Army, they've been with us from the beginning, but great for the organisations. And thirdly, as Sam said, fantastic for CEW, right? So it kind of benefits everyone. And if from the CEW member point of view, for all of you, we would really love you to get involved. So there are different ways that you can get involved, and we've been very successful by all of the CEW members having a look at their companies and seeing whether you can bring other participants, so in other words, your company participants to the program, right? So that is one way you can really help us, but really help CEW in terms of getting that money to help do other things as well. But also you can be speakers. So we'd love you to be speakers. We're very kind of organised in terms of what the participants cover at each program, because we certainly have a lot of topics that they need to cover, but we'd love to kind of you to think about being speakers. And even more so, why don't you think about becoming facilitators for us? So those members of CEW that participate in the 7 days that Dagmar talked about, really important for us. And you'll hear from a couple of them today. It is just so rewarding. That's, I think, why we've stayed with it for so long. So that's fantastic. So what I'd like to do now, I mean, obviously what we're going to be doing is we're looking to expand the program, as Sam said. So that's really important that all of you get across it. So why don't we play a video to give you a little bit of a hands-on in terms of what it actually looks like.
To be honest, I really didn't know what to expect.
My initial expectations were that it was going to be like your usual run-of-the-mill type leadership course or development courses, and you would go through some of those traditional techniques.
I thought it would focus primarily on leadership attributes and helping us, develop our attributes as such.
So I've been on some of those courses before, and I kind of just thought this would be in a similar vein.
Often when you go to those leadership things, it's so abstract.
I had the perception it was going to be very focused on females and how to break through the glass ceiling.
This is different because it's completely opened my mind and given me the confidence to think, actually there are some opportunities that I would like to go for and I can do it. And so I should be positioning myself for it.
It was so much more beneficial to me than I ever actually expected.
I thought it was an amazing program. I learnt so much about myself. How can I be better at my job?
I might be lacking X, Y, and Z, and I can work on that later. And that's something that the other courses have never really demonstrated.
It's brought about a maturity in my thinking about leadership and about what it truly means to be a leader.
I'm here to get the best out of my team, to grow my team, and I can't do my job unless I've got them there with me.
Composure is a C-suite skill that one needs to develop.
I think I'll be a lot more conscious in a room, observing the room, understanding people's behaviour.
That's the first time that I've been on a leadership course with people from other industries.
I was pleasantly surprised at how quickly I was able to connect with the other ladies on the course.
We work in so many different industries, yet we face almost the exact same issues.
When I got invited to do this course, I was like, oh my gosh, my schedule, I'm busy. And I went, you know what, Marianne, there's never going to be a good time to do this.
This is actually at the right point in my career so that I can take that next functional turn.
And it has come at the perfect time.
The perfect time.
You'll come in with preconceptions and you'll come out with a completely different perspective.
I've got a tremendous amount out of it.
Do it.
It's going to change the way you think about your career, the way you think about yourself, your leadership style.
It gives you not only the headspace to actually reflect on yourself, which is very rare in these days, but it then leaves you with all these new skills and network to actually move forward in your career.
It's going to change the way you feel about everything.
Do it. There's no question. Just do it.
So thank you for that. I think that's it's very interesting for us each year when we get the feedback. We evaluate each program so that we can tweak it and add it and change it accordingly. But the feedback is overwhelmingly fantastic. So I think you'd really enjoy being a part of it. And the important thing now for you is that we would like to get 2 of our facilitators and speakers to talk to you about the facilitator and speaker experience. So that's Kathleen Bailey-Lord and Anne Burns. So let me hand over to whichever one of you is going first.
Who would like to go first? Kathleen, you want to go or do you want me to go?
You go, Anne.
Great. I love that video. I love it. Every time I see it, it just gives you a sense of the breakthrough that happens on this program. I have seen so many leadership programs myself. I've run some, I've attended loads, and honestly, there are 3 things that are completely different about this program. I've been a speaker, I've got a fresh pair of eyes, I've recently been doing facilitation as well. And there are these 3 things that really pop out to me. The first is, it was a word that was mentioned before. I can't remember whether Sam said it or Dagmar said it, but that word intimate. This is a very safe environment that is created on the Leaders Program. It's very intimate. The things people tell you in this forum that they would never share in a work environment, and the access that they have to folks like Dagmar and Annette and Kathleen gives them the ability to be much more open than they otherwise would be. And so you hear these amazing stories from these women, from each other. The second thing then is there are always these little breakthroughs, and they happen almost all at once on like day 1. You never see that. It's always like day 5 or day 7, but day 1, and you see the ladies actually empowering each other, and they form these very strong connections in the buddy groups that we have. And I think that empowerment is the key to executing the mission. The last thing, which is the thing I love the most, is the introverts come alive. You know who those introverts are in your organisation. You know there are ladies out there that have the ability, the competence, they just never put their hand up, or they're a little bit quiet. And it's those introverts actually on the programme that you see come alive. And I honestly, it is the most wonderful privilege to be able to see that and partner with folks like Kathleen. You and I have been doing some things recently, myself and Wendy Stops. It's been really fun. But it really is a privilege, and I would encourage you to get involved and really send your greatest talent from your organisations, because this is a very special experience. Yeah. You'd agree, right, Kathleen?
Yes, thank you very much, Anne. Isn't it marvellous to hear her passion and commitment? Yeah. And in a relative term to the length of the program, we've only just scooped her up. So, and she's making a marvellous contribution. Thank you, Anne. And it's just great to have your fresh eyes also on the program. I've been involved not as long as Dagmar and Lynette, but I got involved quite a few years ago. I can't remember exactly, when Dagmar kind of sidled up to me at a CEW dinner and asked me if I would be prepared to be a speaker on the program. And, you know, the gig about signing up to CEW as a member is you sign up to do work. So I knew what the answer was meant to be. And of course I said, yeah, sure. Little did I know that it was the beginning of a journey that she would suck me into more and more. That has been a complete delight. So I went from just being a speaker to taking up accountability for part of the curriculum, specifically the leadership shadow, because at that time we were working with the male champions of change and used that model to help them look at themselves as leaders around gender. But it's a leadership model. And it's timeless. And the privilege I've had of being accountable for that piece of the curriculum is to be able to morph it with the times. So the participants have really found it very useful in recent times to use that model to think about their leadership on Zoom, to think about their leadership in COVID, to think about their leadership in the digital age. So this is part of the secret as well, is that we keep tweaking it and making sure that it's in the context in which leaders find themselves. And Dagmar and Lynette have been really inspiring and empowering in terms of challenging those of us that do contribute curriculum to keep it fresh. And we look very closely at participant feedback, introduce more topics according to their interests and so forth. From a very selfish point of view, and now I'm a facilitator of some of the programs, so I do the content, my curriculum, and facilitate some programs. Now, with regards facilitation, from a selfish point of view, I now have a full-time NED career, really, but to be walking again with these women and to really be in there walking with them, to hear the challenges that they are facing as leaders across a whole raft of Australian businesses, I truly believe helps me stay current and adds value to me as a director. I certainly know it enables me to ask much more penetrating, probably challenging questions of my management, because I have that genuine perspective across multiple sectors, multiple companies, and you can see the thematics. So from a selfish point of view, it is hard to describe to you the value that you actually also get yourself. This is very much a two-way street. We certainly give of our skills and experience, and the magic source truly is us, CEW members, role modelling in the moment, mentoring in the moment, bringing our scars and experience for these women to actually, share and leverage themselves is incredibly powerful. But I really want to emphasise that two-way street. I find it enormously beneficial as well. And it's enormously rewarding to see these women, as Anne says, the lights go off, the confidence build, hey, I can do that. Why am I holding myself back? Why am I allowing the system to hold me back? It's just such a practical way for us as women leaders to enable women leaders.
Thank you, Kathleen. And I've got to tell the group here that Kathleen and Anne are two just magical people in the programs, and the feedback that we get from them is brilliant. So thank the two of you for what you're doing. And we have other fantastic facilitators that you'll hear from when we get into the question and answer area. So we've talked now about the history. We've talked a little bit about from the facilitators and the speakers' point of view. Why don't we hear from a participant and the participant and the company point of view? And you saw her on the video, Sharon Ruitt, who is the CEO of Newcastle Region for Ramsay Healthcare. So she's going to talk to us a little bit about the program. Sharon.
Yeah, thank you very much. I have to say it was quite wonderful to see that video and see all the people I was on course with last year. It was so lovely to see them again, and you actually feel, oh gosh, I wish we could have a reunion and see everyone again. So look, I have to tell you, it's not difficult for me to talk about this program. The mere fact that I'm sitting here today and addressing you as the regional CEO for Newcastle is because I attended this program. So when I was on the course last year, I was a deputy CEO looking after one of the hospitals, and I went on the program, loved it. Ramsay has supported the program for many years. I had heard from a lot of my colleagues how fantastic it was, and so I was thrilled when I was given the opportunity. But I was pretty comfortable. I was a deputy CEO. I'm actually an accountant by trade and had been an accountant for a very long time, and got my first opportunity in an operational role probably about just on a year before I went on the Q course. So certainly had no idea of becoming a regional CEO at that time. The position of regional CEO became available quite unexpectedly with an internal promotion, and I was put into the acting role. And you know, I really had no intention of applying for the role. I thought, I'm too junior, I haven't had enough experience, I've only been operational for a couple, you know, for a year. I'm an accountant. I've got a saying on my, someone gave me a poster for my desk that says they didn't teach me this in accounting school, because I say that quite often, because going operational after you've been an accountant looking after professionals is a very different role when you've got to look after doctors, and from doctors to cleaners, and you're dealing with the day-to-day things that happen in a hospital. Anyway, the role came available. I wasn't going to apply. I thought, I'm not ready. I don't have enough experience. And then I sat and I thought about it. I thought, how am I going to face the Q woman if I do not apply for this role? And I kept on thinking about what I'd learned on the course was, do not think like a girl. You have to just go for it. We overthink these things as women. We're far too honest and brutally honest about our experience and what we can and cannot do. So I decided to not think like a girl, and I applied for the job, and I got the job. Now, I got the job 2 weeks before we went into lockdown. And I have to tell you, running a hospital, 2 hospitals, under COVID conditions in lockdown is certainly, look, not many CEOs of hospitals get to, you know, find to work their way through a pandemic. But anyhow, that's what I've had to do. It has been quite, this year has been a fog. It really has. It's been, but the whole time that I've had to think about, oh my goodness, do I actually even know what to do? How am I going to face tomorrow? I just keep on going back to what I learned on the course, which was, you know, just stop, think, listen, and then make a decision. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to have all the answers. It's okay to reach out and ask. It's okay not to have the questions, the answers. Trust your team and ask for help when you need it. And I think that that is probably one of the biggest learnings that I've had. So I have to tell you, there's a lot about this role, probably everything about this role that I didn't learn in accounting school, but most certainly the lessons I learned on Q are the reason that I'm sitting here today. And I have to tell you, I absolutely love being a CEO of hospitals, even though I've got to do it through COVID. So it has been incredible. The things I've learned about myself, about how to take in a room, what you heard the people saying there, how to like sit in a meeting and really hear what they're actually saying behind what they're saying. That has all been incredibly valuable to me. And we, as I said, Ramsey is a very strong supporter of this program. And it has been incredible for me to see, not only with the women that did this course before me, but the women that have done it after me, is to see them coming back from this course and the difference that they're making in our organization and how they have changed and developed and grown as leaders. So look, you know, I just think it was a sliding door moment in my career. I did think when I first did it that I wish I had done it a few years earlier, but then I realized that actually, no, it happened at the perfect time, because I was able to immediately put into practice the things that I'd learned on the program.
Excellent. Thank you, Sharon. That's brilliant, right? And Ramsey has been a fantastic supporter of the program, and I see Colleen Harris is there too. So thank you, Colleen, for all the help that you've been as part of the program as we've developed it. So thank you for that. Now we want to make sure that you had a lot of time for Q&A questions. And in fact, we have some other of our facilitators here with Karen Penrose, gorgeous Karen. She's been with us for, you know, quite a few years now, which is fantastic. We've got Jack Chow and we've got Wendy Stops. So they are available to answer some of these questions that you are going to ask us. So who is going to be the brave first one to ask a question?
Lynette, I'll just jump in there and let you know that unfortunately Karen and Jack were not able to come this afternoon.
Oh, okay. Thank
Wendy,
you.
Anne and Kathleen and Dagmar are here to wave the flag.
Excellent. Thanks, Michelle. Appreciate that.
So we do want you all to come join us.
Yeah, we do. So who's going to put up their hands? Question.
More members, more mission in this particular instance. I'm known for saying more money, more mission, but for this particular exercise, what we need is more members.
Yes, yes, exactly. So yes, we have some questions. We have some. Lisa.
Afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for the great summary. Certainly from what I've heard from the outside, an amazing opportunity for those participants, but now getting a better insight for the role you play as well. It sounds fantastic. I suppose very important and very practical question on the facilitation side is really what the time commitment would look like and what the expectation is, because really important to do these things well if you're going to put your hand up.
Exactly. So which one of our facilitators would like to answer that one?
I can.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's very variable in the sense that the opportunity, so it's a bit of a two-way street, to be honest, because the opportunity is, for example, to facilitate a program that is running in your own city. And when we start these things, we never put you out by yourself so that you can feel, you know, very secure. So someone who's been doing it for a while is with you. Yes, there's preparation time. There are 7 days of facilitation spread out over, well, it's been a bit variable through COVID, but a few months. And really, a lot of the facilitation skill that you bring to bear is skill that you already have from being a senior leader. And as someone who's come to it more recently, do you want to augment that?
Yeah,
or Wendy? I can see you now, Wendy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Wendy.
I would say not to worry about the content. I mean, one of the great
definitely
program is it's not a huge amount of PowerPoint slides. You don't have to learn the content. Your art of facilitation is your experience and sharing your experience with the cohort, but also
asking the right questions and encouraging them to talk to each other and injecting your experience. So the fact that you don't have to either create or learn content, you might understand some of the frameworks in the prep, but the art is actually asking the right questions and encouraging them to participate. And I think from a facilitation point of view, that's great, because you get to listen to what they say. You can pick up on the signals, and you can almost read the room in terms of what are the areas that are either controversial or they want to dig down deeper. So I think the 7-day commitment over a period of months is obviously a plan ahead, but I think it's certainly manageable with a full-time job.
Yeah, and I would add in, I actually did my first facilitation about 3 weeks ago for the first time with Anne. So we did it together. So having someone with you is really valuable. But also the prep was not onerous at all, not at all. I mean, I did most of it just the day before. And I came in and did a 2-day block. So there's a 3-day, I think it's 3-day, 2-day, 2-day. I did a 2-day block. And I'm hopefully going to do 1 day in the final one, so there's an element that you can kind of, if you can't do the whole 7 days, you might be able to just do 2 days or 3 days. And Michelle works magic with the calendar to try and work out, who can facilitate when and so on. But the time commitment is not onerous. And as Anne said, it was, once you get into it, it's all about just kind of getting them to open up, thinking, oh, that person hasn't said anything for a while. So, so-and-so, what do you think, kind of thing. And then whenever they went into one of the little huddles, because they go off and do little breakout sessions, Anne and I would gather on the line and have a chit chat, and work out, oh, well, this person's not being very talkative. Let's see what we can do to get them to, say a bit more. So it was a very easy thing to do, I must admit.
And if you look at it, we have a lead facilitator and we have a co-facilitator. So we try and do with new facilitators is put the new facilitators with someone that's the lead one that's been doing it a little bit longer, so that you can kind of work on it together and learn about it. But you're right, the content is not such an issue, right?
And the content's clearly important.
Speaker as well. I was a speaker as well, so I took one of the sessions, as well. But Anne was the lead and I was the co-facilitator, so it worked really well. And
a co-facilitator only really needs to agree to a minimum of 2 days. So if you can't, if you can only 2 days, that's fine as well. So does that help you in terms of your question, Lisa?
Yeah, very, very much so, and I'm very keen to be involved. So I'll be in touch.
Excellent. Oh, you'll be sorry. No, just kidding.
No. I'm very interested, genuinely.
Thank you. Tony.
Right. So Lisa's asked the main questions. Sorry, what does that mean? Right. Okay. So Lisa's asked the main questions about logistics that I had, but I noticed in the video that some of them were in groups and some of them were online. So is the intention for the future to all be face-to-face?
Dagmar, would you like to talk to that? Or Michelle, I should say.
Michelle,
what's the plan?
Okay, so we are a face-to-face program. We had to pivot to accommodate this year, but for 2022, our preference is for everybody to be in the room, because the program is mostly relationship-based.
Right.
It's much harder, and I'm sure Sharon would endorse this. It's much harder to do that over Zoom, whereas as Anne was saying, on day one, if they have the opportunity to get together, it's a really fantastic opportunity. But that is not to say that down the track, CEW won't put together an online version. It would be a different program though, because at the moment the days run for 6-7 hours, right, and that's too long.
And in terms of if you do Singapore again, is that face-to-face as well?
I think it's unlikely we will do Singapore again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think the decision has been made that we will stick to Australia and build that.
Based on face-to-face.
Yeah, and if there was an online option, obviously, then you're open to anybody.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Right. Thanks, Tony.
Michelle, if I could just add to that, we had quite an unusual situation in our group because half of our group was our little buddy group. Half was online and half were in the room. And it actually worked really well. You know, in the beginning, we were a little concerned about and thought that the others might feel left out of our team, but we actually probably had one of the best team spirits of our group. We spent a lot of time laughing, as Dagmar and Lynette will tell you, but it actually worked really well. And we've actually, I don't think those group of girls that were online in our course felt any less part of our team than what the rest did.
It's been absolutely amazing, Michelle, the way you've organised it all in terms of having either all virtual or a combination. You know, it's just been remarkable in terms of the results, even though it's been very difficult to organise.
And I was going to say, and it was lovely when Bridget made it to the final session, that she actually got a standing ovation from the entire group. They were so excited to see her.
Exactly. Well done. Cheryl, thank you, Tony. So Cheryl.
Yeah, thanks, Lynette. And thanks everyone for the presentations. Yes, definitely keen to involve, as Lisa said. I guess my question is around the speaking piece. Really just to understand, is the content, you know, there's a program in existence, an agenda or content program, if you like. And so if you can get a hold of the program, you could then work out what you might be able to contribute best to by way of speaking. Is that how it works?
Michelle?
We normally look at your bio and actually suggest to you that, you know, this would be a really great topic for you to speak to, just being a tried, tested model that you've gone through. So that can keep you on your toes as well.
Fine. Oh, that's good. So you tailor make it around. So we just say we're happy to speak, and then you'll work out where and when to put us.
Well, because it depends very much, frankly, on what the participants want, right? Because as we keep listening to what are the challenges that this community generally is facing, we nuance it a bit. So yes, the content is pre-designed before we're running a particular session, but from the year before, you know, we've extracted all, and sometimes even mid-program, like, you know, between block 1 and block 2, we'll go, whoa, right, there's a hell of a lot of interest in that. We need to put on a piece around that particular subject matter, and we need members to speak to it. Right. So, you know, it's a very diverse series of leadership challenges that we are looking for speakers to then just really speak to your experience around that matter.
That's great.
And Cheryl, it's very pre-organised, so that what we want to do is make sure that all of the topics were covered properly. So if we have a topic, you would get as a speaker a list of, this is the topic, and these are some of the questions you might think of answering in terms of to cover all those topics that we need to have covered. So it really does help you, right?
Yeah. Right. Thanks.
And Cheryl, there are external speakers as well. So there are some things where we pull in people externally, and I think based on what I saw the last time, sometimes we're searching for someone as well to help with some of the external things.
So,
yeah, a bit of a mix.
Might know people that we nominate.
Yes, absolutely. And because we are very deliberate about also making sure we put a diversity of leadership styles in front of the cohorts, and men and women, because it's a leadership program, it's not a gender program. And so we're very deliberate about ensuring that type of diversity as well.
Exactly. Thank you, Cheryl. And Kathy. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Lynette. Yeah, I'm really keen to be involved. I've reduced my board commitments for next year, and so I've got time to do this. And the feedback you hear about the program is always just so amazing. So I've got a couple of logistics questions. One is, do you have the dates yet for the programs? And that would be helpful, I think, to see those. And also, I remember when it first started, the program used to be run in, you'd find a host company to hold the program. Do you still do that?
What we do is we try and have the first 3 days, because the first 3 days incorporate 2 2 days where we need people to interact really well. So like in Sydney, we go to the Q station for the first 3 days. But then when we're all open again, we'd love to have companies offer to take us for the next 2 days and then the 2 days after, like Anne, right? You've been amazing, Anne, in terms of what the organisation has done in terms of offering locations. Are you there, Anne? Do you want to make a comment?
Yeah, I think it's kind of fun to host as well. You get to see, but first of all, you get to show everybody, your location, and it generates a bit of a buzz.
Mm.
It's a special program that comes into your space, and I think it opens people's eyes. So I think it's fun to host if we can, and the logistics wise, I think it's great to encourage as many members as we can to host 1 or 2 of these sessions, because it gives people insights that they never otherwise would see.
Good, yeah, exactly, and thank you. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank
We're
you.
looking forward to you participating.
Hello, everyone, and thank you. I was already a yes. Is it possible to be a double yes?
We love you already, darling.
I am it's just one of the things. I've headed up people and culture, so enabling diversity and enabling other women's success is deeply passionate for me. And Wendy, I just want to thank you, because I was thinking, can you do both roles? Because I was so keen. So thanks, Wendy. Yeah, very keen. Happy to put my money where my mouth is right now and say I'm happy to be work with the dates, with your timing, and I'll sign up for being a co-facilitator and a speaker for 2022.
That is brilliant. And tell me, Michelle, do we have the dates out yet for next year? I know we were tweaking them a bit.
Yeah, we certainly do. We are running 3 Sydney programs, Brisbane, Perth and Melbourne, before 30th of June next year. And we have just decided to also go to the ACT and run a program there as well. So I don't know where all you ladies are located, but if you could all send me an email and send me through those details of where you are and what you're interested in doing, that would be sensational. I've made a note of you anyway, so I will follow you up if you don't come to me. But at the same time, this is brilliant, because this is exactly what we were after, that we want to have more members, more involvement, because that makes it such a special program.
Yeah, it is. I agree. Thank you, my dear. For Kate, Helen.
Thank you. A lot of my questions have already been asked and answered, so thank you for that. Just a question about the participants and who is the best person for me and my head of people and culture to talk to about having some of our staff participate in the program?
Well, that would be Michelle, wouldn't it?
That would be Michelle.
Helen, because I know that you're Perth-based, so yes, definitely.
No, I'm Sydney-based.
Oh, you're Sydney-based. Why was it that it came through Denise then?
Just because
network,
yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Not to worry, I'll send you through the information.
Yeah, we have offices in Brisbane, Sydney and Melbourne and ACT actually, so yeah.
Okay. Well, but yeah, we'll certainly be in touch. That'd be wonderful.
Okay, great, thank you. And I'm happy to be involved in some way as well. I just need to think, once I see the dates, I'll perhaps let you know. Yeah.
And Michelle, we love it, don't we? If we have a company that's got people in those treatments.
It is actually also very interesting from the org, rather than just have 1 or 2 women go through, and that's really great for their leadership. But if an organisation has a group of women that go through that don't know each other, that's actually a really fantastic opportunity for them to build networks within their own organisation. We have a couple of organisations that have been on the program for a number of years who really do that well and make sure that their women, before they come to the first session, meet with their CEO so that they understand that they actually have been targeted rather than just ticking a box and off you go. And that makes a tremendous difference also to the women when they arrive, because they understand that, you know, they have been given a real gift.
Yeah, exactly. So that's fantastic. So we've got Denise.
Hi, Lynette.
Hello, darling. How
And,
are you?
Helen, you came through to me, I think, because I've had the privilege of running the program, or looking after the program, not running it at all, from board level at CEW for the last few months. And Michelle, I wondered if you could just talk about, you know, the website, your people getting onto the program, to go onto the website, and I think that's the first port of call that we'd like you to have a look at too, please.
Yes, absolutely. We've just had our website all jazzed up in the last couple of days. So it's all ready for you to go on, and you can view the video that was shown by Tam earlier this evening. And that's terrific, because we find that that video, more than anything, endorses everything that we're trying to tell you. It also has on their calendar, it has how to enrol. Basically everything you need to know is on the website, so definitely go there as your first port of call.
And look, it really is important that we get you all to really think about getting participants for us. I mean, that is really important for us. If we're going to meet that goal that Sam mentioned up front, you know, of getting these 600 women through the program by 2025, we're going to really need your help in terms of that. And if you just think about the financials, I mean, having, you know, 8.1 million come in over 11, so you're really doing a boost from both points of view. Now, I think we've got time for one more question, if anyone will ask another question, or if Wendy, you didn't have much time to say much, my dear. Do you want to make a comment? Any other comment about the program?
No, as I said, only to say I just participated for the first time. I've joined the committee, so I'm committed myself to this. So I hope to do a lot more sessions. But it was really great, even though it was over Zoom. It was a bit hard, but the women were just amazing, and they just embraced it totally. And you know, to Anne's point about seeing the introverts, you know, sort of come out was really exciting to see. Just in the 2 days that I was involved, you could just see it kind of happening, and they started to come out. And then when they did speak, it was like, oh wow, where have you been? You know, sort of thing. So yeah, no, it's a great program, and you'll get a lot out of it. And I found myself, someone said earlier on, just refreshing my own leadership skills. You know, occasionally I was going through thinking, oh, I just must remember that, you know, sort of writing down my own notes as well. So there is value in it for you personally as well.
I mean, I would just add, Lynette, when you're thinking about potential attendees, I mean, look for the introverts, look for the unpolished gems, look for the people that always get overlooked that have great potential, because this will really build their confidence, and it really empowers them to then step up. So look for the non-obvious candidates as well as those that you know that you would have automatically.
Yeah, good point, actually, Anne. Denise, you want to say something, my dear?
Yeah, thanks, Lynette. Hey, look, if you have got a minute or two, there's a couple of new faces on the screens that I haven't seen before that work with the Leaders Program. I think Rachel and Tam. Michelle, you might, you know, introduce the team if they're here so that everyone can see who they're dealing with.
Sure. Well, Tam has been our guru tonight, putting together a lot of the IT. Tam, you're not showing yourself.
She's hiding.
Am I on video?
Okay. Yeah, there she
Hello,
is.
everyone.
There. Tam, and then I think Amanda has arrived, as she's there as well, I think. Tam and Amanda are the amazing managers of the program across all the different locations. Have we got Amanda there, or no? Somewhere. There she is. Hello. Okay, so they're the wonderful women that will be assisting the facilitators in the different locations. From there, we go to Rachel, who I think is here as well. Rachel is our business engagement manager, and so she's looking at that 600 number and working very hard on that. Do we have Sarah still, or I'm not sure if Sarah's off camera, so there she is. And Sarah is the one that has done the initial IT that's going. Is that everybody? I've got Karen. Karen's here too. Karen,
my little picture
we
up.
can hear you, Karen. Yes, that's it. Yes, Karen. Karen is our wonderful assistant who has been with us for many years and is probably the person that knows more than anybody else.
Not from you yourself, Michelle.
No, it's a great group.
She's my encyclopedia. So I think that's everything. So then I'll hand back to Lynette to close.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, I think just before I say farewell for a short time, I think the one thing that, the two things that really make this program stand out as being very different, someone has talked about that first day when we get their participant chats to talk about who are they as an individual, not to do with work. And that opens all of them up so that they see each other in a totally different light than looking at them in terms of the company and the title that they have. That's very key. And the other is the personal audit. And the personal audit is what a lot of them say changes their life, because we ask them to evaluate their whole life, not just their working life, but their personal life as well, with whatever it is, 15 different categories. And so those two things make the program very, very different. Now, I've got 1 minute and I think I saw Susan. She had her hand up. Here we go, Susan. Over to you.
Thank you, Lynette. And it was just a very quick one, other than hello to everybody, to say the program itself is fantastic and you've heard about the wonderful benefits out of it. Everyone who goes through the program also can become a member of CEW Connect.